Tim, you've heard what I had to say. You were sitting in the audience. What is the one that everybody's thinking right now?
So if I look out into this audience, Brendan, I see a lot of cogs turning, a lot of minds wondering, and it looks like a bright bunch of people. So I don't think we're going to take advantage of anyone here. And whenever you faced with something new, you always go to something that you know. So when people see this business and you talk about referrals, the first thing that they're going to go is back to that pyramid scheme. So Brendan, please tell me that when you invited me here to join you at DuePoint, I didn't leave my cushy banking job to now become part of an illegal scheme and I'm going to go to jail.
A pyramid scheme, that's right. Taking everybody with me. Folks, that's the burning question. It's the one on everybody's lips at the moment. It's in all the newspapers. We're seeing it everywhere. Pyramid schemes everywhere. Now, the great thing about this, just as Tim said, is that all of us go to a point of reference. The problem most of the time is that our point of reference is a largely uneducated one. Like someone will say to you, geez, my friend had this bad operation on his leg and it just went all bad. And then you've got an opinion on it. I know, I do. I have the spiritual gift of opinion. I can give you an opinion on anything. But I have no medical knowledge. So I can't comment on it, but I do. And what we do as individuals, we look at this type of business and we go, hang on, I've heard of something like this. Yes, this is a pyramid scheme. I'm not getting involved. This is one of those things, those schemes. Folks, let's understand what a pyramid scheme is to start with. A pyramid scheme is something where you are asked to put a large investment in upfront. Any sign of that tonight? No, there is no large investment. The second thing is that that investment is not necessarily for a product of any worth. When you purchase one of Constantia's products, you can go to Constantia and buy it there completely outside of DuePoint. It is a product of worth that is already being sold into the market. Your worst risk is that 279 rand, 74 rand or the 249 rand is just the value of the product that you've got. Okay? And then the last point that's really worth discussing is that a pyramid scheme says, if you bring more people and they all put their 15,000, 20,000 rand in, you'll move up the system. And as you move up the system, you'll earn more and then eventually you'll pop out the top. That's how they work. That's what. Now, if you don't believe me, go home this evening and look up the Consumer Protection Act. A pyramid scheme is defined in the Consumer Protection Act as I have just described it to you. This is not a pyramid scheme. As I say, 4 government departments later and no black hair left, we're good to trade, okay? We have in fact, and we will in fact be working with government departments to help, to be part of the tools they use for the encouragement of small business development in South Africa. This is not a scheme. This is the alternative that we've been trying to get to the average South African. All right, Tim, so this is my favorite one. I talk to people, and people go, okay, fine, it's not a pyramid. I had the other one that said, no, I didn't say you were illegal, I just said you're a pyramid scheme. And then I said, but you can't be a pyramid scheme and be legal. No. So it's, get them past the pyramid scheme, and they say to me, Brendan, but I've got a great career. I'm qualified, I'm young, I've got skills other people don't have, and I'm going straight up the career path. I don't need this. I don't need this. Tim, what do we say to that?
Okay, Brendan, so, with these people that have already got a successful career, aren't those the most awesome people to get into your channel? Because those are the people, who are motivated, who have ambition, who are quite smart. So we're not saying it's for the dumb and the people that we can just con. The best people, I think, to work with in this kind of business are the people that are smart and energetic and who are successful. So first of all, it is for those people who are already successful, okay? The second thing that I just want to mention to you, though, is that, I had a quick look at stats and the tax brackets and how much people earn. So if you're earning 500,000 Rand or more, you're in the top 10% of South Africa. So that's that, just to put that in perspective. But you know what the problem with 500,000 Rand a year income is that you've also got 500,000 Rand of expenses. So that's the problem that we have, is no matter how much you earn, your expenses always grow to reach that income. So what would happen if you were earning 500,000 Rand a year and you had to lose your job? So we hear about it all the time. You know, the mining industry is going through a lot of pain. The telecoms industry is going through a lot of pain. I think the general economy is going through a lot of pain. So if you had to lose your job, or you were injured and you couldn't go to work, and now you have to take 6 months off without earning a salary, you know, you're going to burn through your savings very quickly. It's taken you so long to build that savings, you're going to burn through that savings. But having this little part-time job that is earning you an extra income is I think a winning solution. You know, if you just think about, you know, your grandmother or the old ladies used to say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's the same thing. We rely so heavily on our, you know, paid employment, but if something happened to that job, I think you're going to be underwater very quickly.
Absolutely.
But also, I mean...
And Tim, you gave me such a great example the other day. You were saying, you were looking at those SARS brackets, and you were saying that they say, you know, top 10% is 500,000, but the average taxpayer in South Africa only earns about 240, 250,000 Rand a year. It's about 20 grand a month, 20 grand a month. But what Tim said to me, it's really awesome, is when you use averages linearly across like this, you get a very distorted picture. Because if Tim and Bill Gates were in the room, on average, they'd both be billionaires. You know, this is the game. We don't actually have people earning on average 20,000 Rand a month. We have people earning a hell of a lot less on average in South Africa with qualifications, with full-time jobs in South Africa. It is such a great example for this, even for the people who have great jobs, Tim.
Yeah, so it's going to be very difficult, like you say, if you, on average, earning 250,000 Rand, you know, how much is a 10% increase every year? Are you going to get a 10% increase? But here with DuePoint, you know, we've seen people getting a 5,000 Rand a month increase only after a few months. So it's not for just those people who don't have jobs or who say that, you know, I'm working on my career. What we also find is a very difficult market to get into, and that's why we had the Young Guns Quest, is the under 30s. Because, you know, they're still young, they feel they're invincible, they're studying hard. You know, they're going to reach a point where they also say, look, I've put in all this time in my career and I haven't reached my goals. So this is something that you can start working with, particularly in a system that is designed for compound growth and duplication. So what do you want in a system like that? You want time on your side. So with those young people, we're saying, you know, get in now, because in the next 20 years, if you're just doing DuePoint on the side, we believe that your DuePoint income is actually going to be replacing your full-time income.
And you know what I love? I get it from a lot of people who say, I'm on the path to be the CEO. I'm on the path to be the CEO. Guys, have you ever done just a bit of a statistical search on CEOs? There are a couple thousand globally. A couple thousand. Of the couple thousand, only really the top piece of them are earning the kind of money you think you're going to be earning as the CEO. I'm talking to the youngsters because I told you, you're still like, I'm getting the 911 Turbo. And, you know, it's bad news, guys. There is a fraction of a percent of individuals who in a career get to the spot where they can have the things they dreamed about when they were younger. A fraction of a percent. So we talk about people with solid jobs. This has been designed for you. If you're sitting here going, I've got a job, I don't need this, you are wrong. This is the backup plan. Living in a country like we do, we can't deny the facts. Don't call us the Rainbow Nation for nothing, boy. We change color every day, okay? Every day. You cannot live without a backup plan. It does not matter what your job or career prospect is. Doesn't matter. So but Tim, what do you get out of this discussion? You go.
So, I mean, like I said to you, we say to the youngsters, time is on your side. So then the common objection that we get is, well, you know, I've got a full-time job, I just don't have time. So how would you answer that?
That's the one we get all the time, and we know that. I mean, goodness, it's Thursday, and I'm here, I'm not at home, you know, and I know, I mean, we talk about Casper, 12 hours a day, Mario, 12 hours a day. We know you don't have time, particularly if you're a doctor or a nurse. I mean, there's just no hours left in the day for all of us. We know this. But the truth is, you have a little bit of time. And that little bit of time can turn into a lot of time when you start leveraging other people's little bits of time. And that's what we've done with the DuePoint system. We've said, if you can get 2 people in a month, one every 2 weeks, just a little bit of time, an hour once every 2 weeks. If you can get that in and work with that team to do the same thing themselves, all of a sudden, your half an hour, your hour, your 2 hours a month becomes 20 hours a month, becomes 200 hours a month. That is why when we were creating the DuePoint system, we used the direct selling model. This is not a new model. Direct selling has been around for 100 years already. But we leveraged it and we moved it into the 21st century with what we did at DuePoint, allowing you who have no time to buy back your time again at the end, because that's what this does. If you over 10 or 15 years are able to get your income to 100,000 Rand a month, you don't need to be a doctor anymore. You don't need to be a nurse anymore. You don't need to be anything anymore, because you're earning 100,000 Rand a month and you have bought back your freedom. You've bought it back. And not only that, you've given yourself the guarantee of financial income into the future. All right, so that one is a common one, and I like this one. This one's my favorite one. This one is for, and I mean, I'll say it out there, this is for all the sort of yuppies out there and all the popular people. I was never very popular, so I don't know this feeling, but I know for all the popular people, there is no ways I am telling my friends about DuePoint. Anything network marketing, anything direct selling, forget it. My name is my brand. And when I say something's good, you must know it's good. And so I'm not putting anything on network marketing because that's just embarrassing. Tim, how do we deal with the embarrassment factor?
Well, you know, it always comes down to the lowest common denominator in any industry. So how have the accountants try to get away from that? How have the lawyers try to get away from that? You just set the bar too high so that no one can get into the industry. So, you know, like we said, we both chartered accountants. We had to study quite hard to get into to get that qualification. We had to pass our exams. So to kind of weed out all of the bad eggs, they set the bar quite high to become qualified. So there's none of that in the network marketing opportunity. So like you said in your slides, it's for everyone. Everyone can get in. There's no minimum, you know, capital. Everyone can get in. So I think it just gets tainted from all of those bad eggs that come in. So because there's no barriers to entry, we unfortunately do find that there are those bad eggs. But when I think also, you know, would I be embarrassed to do it? I always think, you know, what would be more embarrassing for me? I don't have kids yet, but it would be very embarrassing for me if I had to look back one day and say to my children, look, I can't afford to send you to university, or to my daughter, look, I can't afford to give you a nice wedding, or if I had to say to my mom, look, I can't afford to look after you, or anything like that. So that those things for me would be a lot more embarrassing. So unfortunately, we have to change your life takes action. So I think a lot of people just put their heads in the sand and they say, look, I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. I don't want to, you know, make a change in my life. And I think a lot of the stigma also comes with, if you start approaching people with a business opportunity, a lot of the people are going to say, well, what's wrong with Brendan? Is he not making enough money? Well, you know, why is he now approaching me? Is he in circumstances that, you know, he's found himself now, you know, there must be something wrong with Brendan.
Okay. Well, we know that. Yeah.
But that's totally the opposite. Like I said, would you not be inspired by someone who decided to change their life, and not only changing their life, to go and change the lives of the people around them? So I definitely don't see it as something that's embarrassing.
I heard a great story. Actually, I was telling Tim a little bit earlier, I heard a fantastic story last week about a guy who actually went and did a bit of research into this, because he was always like, no, my friends and I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of them. And then he did some research and he found out that of all the people that you interact with in your life and your friends and your family, and so at your funeral, less than 10% will pitch. So at the end of the day, after all the effort you've put into making sure you're cool in front of your friends and hip in front of your family and all the work that you've done with them, less than 10% will pitch at your funeral. And then less than 10% of that will stand at the graveside. And of that 1% that's left, almost all of them said it all depended on the weather that day. This is a true story. I'll send you it was fantastic. Yeah. And he said in that moment, he stopped caring about what others thought about him and started caring about the realities of his future. That's what he started doing. So embarrassment comes at a high price, doesn't it?
But Brendan, also, I mean, it's something that I say when I give this presentation, is that you will never be embarrassed by DuePoint. So I think everything that we've put together here is of the highest standard.
Yeah.
When you look around at the offices, like you say, at the people, at the products, we really trying to change that stigma. So you're never going to be embarrassed by DuePoint. You know, if you're embarrassed by the way you present or you engage with people, that's nothing that but as far as we believe, you're never going to be embarrassed by DuePoint. And you also have the opportunity, like we say, this is not just you trying to earn an income, this is a team game. So you have the opportunity to handpick the people that you work with. Like I said, it's not just changing your own circumstances, it's also changing the circumstances of those people around you. So you get to handpick those people. Like we say, we want you to go and find those people that are successful. Okay. But what I'm, you know, if, like you say, as the accountant, if I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to try and sell something. So how do I, you know, I don't think I could do this because I can't sell.
Absolutely. And that's quite a common one. You know, they say the fears in life are public speaking first. That's the most common fear. People would rather do that than anything else, would rather not do that than anything else. And the second one is death. But we know that that's not true, because since I've been doing this, whenever I talk to people, their response is, I don't want to do that because I can't sell. So I now know that selling is the number one fear of the average person on earth. They would rather public speak or die than sell. They would. That's just the reality of it. Now, I also know that most of you are hopeless at selling, because it's a very much acquired skill and it's limited to a certain segment of the population. We know this. And that's why we designed the DuePoint system. In the DuePoint system, you never sell anything. You never sell anything. We as DuePoint Constantia sell the products into a set of dots you've connected of people you know that we could never get to in the traditional and classical forms of marketing. That's what we do. That's what we do. Okay. So Tim, this is the one that cuts me to the core, is always, Brendan, your products are no good. If only you had this, I could succeed. If only you had this, I would do it. If only you had this, I would do it. Your products are rubbish. What do you think, Tim, about the products I made?
I think there's 3 points to cover there. The first point is that, you know, I fundamentally believe that our products are of the highest quality. Okay, if you just do some comparison between what we offer, what we charge, I think we're very competitive in what we have. And if you just take, for example, our Access Wealth Plan, I don't think you can get access to a tax-free investment account that gives you equity exposure with 100 Rand a month investment. Yeah, you know, we've looked at this. We've approached a number of the largest organizations to try and partner with us when we were developing this product, and no one was interested in that business. But you know, we've found a solution and we've created that product. So in terms of the product, I think all of our products are standalone, you know, top quality and competitive products. Okay. So if I also then look at the products that we do offer, and if you were trying to start your own entrepreneurial business, what kind of products would you have to offer? And we believe that financial services products are the best products. So as you mentioned in the presentation, because it's a month-on-month product, you pay your premium every month, you get this recurring income. So you don't have, you know, all the stock issues, the fluctuating rand-dollar exchange rate. You know, I sold all these pills or shakes or soaps last month, and now I've got to go and sell them again, but now the price has doubled. Or, you know, if I've got to move this volume to earn on those levels, so, you know, I've got to put in 15,000 Rand a month to kind of make my money back. And, you know, and a lot of people say, look, I've spent all this money on product, you know, it's all sitting in my garage. So, you know, you don't have any of those problems with financial services products. It gives you the recurring income, and you don't have the issues with distribution, obsolescence, and those kind of things. And then I think the third thing, though, and the key point, and I was listening to a very good presentation this week, and the presenter said, look, I'm going to give you a R1 million tip. So this is your R1 million tip for tonight. If you get focused on the products, you're going to miss the opportunity. And DuePoint is not about the products. DuePoint is about the opportunity. If you just, you know, keep analyzing in your head, you know, what are the products? What are the products? Is this competitive or comparative, I think you're going to lose
The whole thing.
the
That's
whole
right.
point of the
Of what we're
DuePoint system. And the whole point of the DuePoint system is this bolt-on, this entrepreneurial venture that you can start on the side. It's your own business. It's going to earn you an income. So I don't know if there's any other products that are available in the market that, you know, you are able to earn and grow a
income
business
from.
and have an
Yeah.
income from.
Yeah, yeah. So, Tim, where does this lead us? It takes us to the big one.
Yeah.
The big
So
question.
now, you know, people say, I've put in all this work. How long am I going to? We talk about building a sustainable business that's going to pay you a recurring income. You know, you're building an asset.
Yeah.
Is that what's going to happen?
Is that actually what's going to happen? This is the big thing. Again, where's the stigma that Tim and I are addressing tonight with you? Where's it come from? It's come from the fact that these kind of things kind of come and go. They kind of come and go. You're constantly reading about them in the newspaper. And that is not what is happening here. Just take a look around you. First of all, we're a division of one of the longest standing insurance companies in South Africa. We're backed up by my company, Primary Direct, which is now nearly 10 years old, one of the biggest short-term insurance companies in South Africa. It's backed up by that. It's got all of this capital outlay that we've put into here. We've taken this extremely seriously, and we have way more to lose than you in this process. But here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. No one can ever give you a guarantee, particularly in the world we live in today, that we'll be here 200 years from today. Look what's happening with the big mining houses. They were around for ages. Now they're all leaving the country and closing down. But what we can tell you is that we've done everything in our power to make sure that this is something that lasts into the future, and we have the most skin on the table. We have the most skin on the table. You don't. What happens if this whole thing folds up tomorrow? Well, you would have earned some money over a period of time and lost nothing. That's your worst case scenario. That's your worst. That cannot be said for a lot of the things you're reading about in the newspaper, where people are losing all their pensions, all their retirements, and their savings. You can't say that. So, Tim, we've touched on it a bit tonight. I don't think we'll spend too much time on it, but, you know, we talk about how this is, people say to me, Brendan, this is embarrassing in that because it's for the desperate, it's for the failures, it's for the, you know, all of these people that couldn't get it right in society. They had to do this. Like, I mean, just briefly, Tim, like, is that really what we think about DuePoint?
No, Brendan, I always use the example, you know, do you have a spare tire in your car?
Yes, I do. It's a total loser.
Yeah, but I thought spare tires were people who had flat tires. So you don't have a flat tire, but
But
yet
I've got a spare
you've
tire.
got a spare tire. So that's what DuePoint is about. It's not about waiting till you've lost your job. Or you can't pay your bills. It's that spare tire. We want you, like we said, we've always said it's going to be your part-time. It's going to be your second income.
That's right.
And you know, like I said in the previous example I used, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, that may sound like an old-fashioned saying. So if I go to more of a modern saying, and, you know, if you don't believe us, maybe we can convince you with people who are smarter than us. So Warren Buffett, who's one of the most famous investors and maybe one of the third richest people in the world, you know, his advice for you is, you know, don't rely on a single source of income. So that's what we're saying.
That's what we're doing with this thing.
And, you know, so it's not for the desperate, and
It's certainly not for the poor. But
not for the poor.
What we've said here is that this is for income earners. But I know, like Tim, when we talk about Tim's personality, and, you know, he's standing up here in the spotlight. Tim, what is one of the biggest difficulties you have with this with this business?
Well, I think one of the things is that it is new and people haven't seen it before. Okay, but the problem, like you say, for introverts like myself, and let me just give you some background. You know, Brendan challenges his staff to also invite people. So we must learn what it's like to be in the network marketing game. So Brendan challenges us to bring people to these presentations as well. Well, I've been through all my friends, okay? And the only two people that I could rely on for tonight is my mom and my wife. So hi mom and hi wife. I've been through my friends. I don't know any more people.
I know. And this often comes up. You can see how we're working through it. We're taking your time this evening, but we're doing it on purpose. We're working through all of those barriers you have put in the way. We didn't put them in the way. You put them in the way. And now we've reached this another barrier. We've crushed all the others. And now it's like, I don't know enough people. I can't do this. I don't know enough people. Guys, this is when you forget you don't have to do this tomorrow. You've got all the rest of your life to do this with. You will meet thousands of people through the course of your life, slowly, 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 building an income for yourself. And each one of those individuals knows thousands of people through the course of their lives. And you start leveraging not only the people you know and interact with, but the people that all of these people that become part of your channel know. You never have to worry about running out of people to talk to. You will never run out of people to talk to. You'll find them in all sorts of circles of your life. So that's not one. But I think as we get to the end, Tim, one of the big things that I get most commonly is I'm afraid. It's that word. I'm afraid to do this. I'm now having to step outside my box of knowledge. My mom and dad told me, get a good job. And now you're telling me to do this strange thing. That is something I'm afraid of. Will it let me down? Will you let me down? Will I be a failure here where I've been a success at work? That's a big one. I'm CEO. I don't want to do this and be a failure. A lot of fear. What do we say about the fear here?
So I think, what we've specifically designed with the DuePoint model is a model that is built for duplication. So I think that's the first thing. From, introducing people that helping them grow, it's designed for duplication. And that's also, if you look at what you've explained with the XP Rewards program, that's a training program that we're not going to just force you to do it, we're going to reward you to do it. So there's a great training program that's going to help you learn about duplication. So the system is built around duplication. So if you also say, well, look, I don't know if I can do it, we're not saying go, navigate across this uncharted desert. There are people who have walked this path before. You just need to follow in their footsteps. So the people that have introduced you have got a bit of experience in this. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, well, I don't know where to start, speak to the people that brought you here, introduced you. They'll give you some tips. There's a lot of experienced people, and, Brendan showed you the slides. There are people who are making a success out of this. So it's not by chance. There's no magic formula. It's in fact quite easy. We tell you this is what you do and this is what you get. Yeah. So it's designed for duplication. And like you say, I don't know if I'm going to be successful in it, but also when I looked at this model, when Brendan invited me to join DuePoint, I also had to make that decision. I had to look at this and say, I've got a cushy banking job. Where's that going to get me in the next 20 years versus the power of this model that we have here? And I fundamentally believe that the power of this business model is what's going to change. If you just follow the system and you get plugged into the model, I think the opportunities are there.
Yeah, you almost can't fail. Thank you very much, Tim, this evening for being with me. Folks, by entering into the DuePoint system, you enter into one of the most forgiving systems that you've ever been in. When you're at work and you muck up, you're at risk of losing your job. You're never in a system where you fail. It just doesn't matter. It has no impact on you. In fact, it's almost expected in the beginning. Success is something that comes with time in the DuePoint system, and so we hold your hand in a sense to that point without the risk of you actually ever losing anything of real value. The opportunity of building something of real value is what you get with the DuePoint system.